Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. This week is going to be the Forex analysis for May 5th through the 11th. So I'm going to go through some of my top pairs this week, show you what I'm going to be looking for potential trading opportunities. And I'm just going to go for a full breakdown on each of the pairs. So yeah, sorry I've been a little late with some of these videos. I've been kind of being a little lazy with it. I've just been, I'm almost graduated. I'm a couple days away from being graduated from college. So my mind has really been just like focused on that, finishing up my finals and papers. But yeah, these videos are going to be starting to roll out every week, kind of like what I used to do. But yeah, I kind of wanted to do another good video this week and show you guys some good opportunity. So yeah, let's just jump into it. So first up on my list is GBP USD. And if you guys are following my social media, mainly on Instagram, I posted literally this trade that I took last week. It was both on GBP USD and Euro USD. So I guess I'll just take a quick second to explain those trades. So basically, I was gonna get in on a position I think earlier here, or oh no, it was here this week I think, and then I just missed it for some reason. I wasn't at the charts, or I was in the middle of a final. That's why. So yeah, I was in the middle of finals. So I couldn't get in on a good position here, but whatever. It came back. We can see it was retesting our area of interest. We started to reject it. Right, we had a 4-hour shift of structure, came down. There was a news event that brought us back up, which was really, really nice. Gave me a good opportunity. And then I entered in basically on this 1 hour engulfing. This was more of just like intuition that the trade is going to go down. There were certain rules, like for example, it wasn't bouncing off my 1 hour EMA, which is normally what I look for. But this is because there was like a huge news event and you can see how volatile the chart was, right? So this is just more of intuition, knowing that it's going to react off of this fib level, right? After making this downwards push, right? We're at the mid kind of level, we're rejecting candles. It's gonna push off. That was just my intuition from what I've seen over the like the past year of me studying Forex. And since I had two trades of these open, like I had GBP USD and also Euro USD, I basically opened them at the same time because their charts are very, very similar, right? They're almost identical. So since I had both those positions open at the same time, I made my risk to reward ratio half as what I normally do it, right? So it's not a normal 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio simply because I had two positions open on both pairs that are almost identical. So it was essentially doubling my risk. So I really didn't want to have to hold both trades for as long as I normally do, since it's not something I'm too comfortable with. And I'll be honest, I got lucky in this trade, right? I got lucky that I only shot for only a 1-to-1 on both my trades, because we could literally see on GBP USD, this was my take profit, right? It literally wicked into my take profit. I took my money and left, and we could just see how much it reversed. And same with Euro USD. It wicked into my profit. I took my money and I left. So I got lucky. Like normally, if it was just one position, I would have been trying to hold it and potentially till this like lower area down here. But yeah, so I got lucky. I'll be honest. It happens. It could have been worse. It could have been better. But that doesn't mean new opportunity isn't awaiting for us on the same pair, right? So after another news event, I believe was on Friday, we could see how volatile it was, and we rejected this upper area of interest pretty strongly. If we look at the daily wick, we can see it made a huge wick. All right, I'm sure you guys can see it. I'm not sure if you can see it on your screen. There's a huge wick that it rejected, which was really, really cool. I really wanted to see that, which is great. Because what that means is now price is rejecting this whole area above it and likely going to start coming down again and following the normal market structure path that we always like to see, right? This lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And then, of course, with price retesting our lower lows to bounce off again. And that's what's happening here, right? We could see it. We're making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, coming back. Now we are rejecting this with this red candlestick, and now even price is rejecting it even more. So that's why I'm very interested in this pair still for this week. So again, also we're rejecting our daily EMA, which is great. Weekly is great too. It's looking very, very clean. We're at this area of interest where the lower wicks are on the weekly. And our weekly wick was also rejecting from an upper area of interest. So it's all looking very, very good. The only thing I'm going to be looking for on GBP USD is a 4-hour shift of structure. I'd really like to see price to, like I drew here, come down a little bit more. Just make it below these lows a little bit, below this little area, come back up, kind of create like the best thing that we know of is the head and shoulders, right? We want to see that head and shoulders, especially when the head and shoulders is breaking market structure. That's like super, super important. It makes the confluence and so much higher, and it's a great, great thing. So what we're going to try to do is if it does follow this path, we're going to wait for it to come back up after breaking 4-hour market structure. Don't be too jumpy with the charts and trying to enter in early on this push down, right? It may look very tempting because now it's going to look like it's going to start heading down all the way down to here, which it could. It definitely well and is like has happened before where it could just push straight down. And I've seen it happen before, but that's not what we're looking for. That's not the entry that we want. That's a sloppy trade. That's not a high confidence trade. We want something that looks cleaner and to show us that it is going to follow in the direction we want it to. So even if it does just straight push down all the way in, it is what it is. We missed the trade. That's fine. Don't worry about it. There will always be future opportunity. We're not looking to place a trade every single day just because it might happen, right? It may take 1 or 2 weeks for it to happen. Don't rush it. So yeah, 4-hour shift of structure is what we're looking for. We're going to try to get in on the pullback. Hopefully somewhere around this area of interest, we could just reject it. Maybe even if it's down here still, 1 to 2 is fine. Even if I want to get in maybe down here, once it breaks these lows, 1 to 1.4, it's not that bad, but try to keep it tight if you can. And for my stop loss, I want to have it above these highs. Above all the way at the top is a little too much. It's got to travel way too far just for basically a 1-to-1, so it's a little too that's too lenient, so I'm going to keep my stop loss a little tighter, probably just above these highs. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for GBP USD. Euro GBP is kind of the opposite, right? So this one I want to talk about just a little bit with how we normally like to dictate whether a chart is bullish or bearish, right? So on the weekly, it is very choppy. It's not that clean. I understand that. That is something that I am kind of cautious about, that it's kind of back and forth. Yeah, it's not that clean. If you want to say it's bullish or bearish, I don't know. There's arguments for both. If you count this as a low, then it breaks below here, but it goes above, and then it, comes back, but it's rejecting this area. It's very sloppy on the weekly, I'll be honest. On the daily, though, it is a little bit cleaner. We are following structure a little bit more. We are respecting these areas of interest a little bit more, especially this bottom one. And that's like the main key point that I want to talk about on this one, simply because we rejected this bottom area of interest, right? We shot up really fast, which was great. I wasn't looking to get in on a position here simply because the daily was bearish at this point and it wouldn't have been clean. So I didn't look a position here, but it did reject this area of interest, right? We're breaking so much market structure. We're turning bullish on a lot of the lower time frames. On the pullback, it did end up closing a little below here, right? And that's the main question. Like, is this chart bullish or bearish? If you look at it from a super, super technical standpoint, it made a lower low and then it created a higher high, making this the higher low. But then it broke below it. So is it technically bearish? That's arguable. It's debatable. And the reason why I say that is because if we look at the wicks here, yes, the daily did, close below these, but the wicks are so small and they did not exceed or go lower than all of these lower wicks to the left of it, right? So that means on the lower time frame, it did not punch through any of these. It didn't create a lower low or have any breakouts below these wicks. And even on the 4 hour, it didn't close below these 4 hour lows. So, in my opinion, this is completely up to you guys. This is something you have to kind of decide for yourself if you want to count this as a daily bullish or a daily bearish. If you're not feeling it, then that's fine. But for me, I'm still going to count this as somewhat bullish. And that's the main reason why, because we just respected this low so well. We didn't even create a lower wick or wick anywhere below these lows that are to the left of it. And on the 4 hour, we could see that it turned bullish now, right? So we broke bearish and then we finally turned bullish, right? We bearish and then we were coming back up. This was our high. We broke above it. Now, hopefully, what I'm going to be looking for is a retracement back into this upper area of interest, right? We have highs here, highs here, highs here, highs here, little lows here. It's a little sloppy, but overall an area of interest. We're coming up to our 4 hour EMA, right? We're going to be hopefully retesting this market structure point. We also have fib levels kind of coming into play here. If we perfectly reject kind of the 0.618 zone, which will be lining up with our 4 hour EMA and with our area of interest with market structure. It's looking very, very clean, just for a buy position, in my opinion. And what I'm going to be looking for my stop loss is likely just to be below whatever 4 hour structure it makes. So if it kind of does a little dance here and then it finally decides to shift on the lower time frame and start to head up, then that's where I'll enter in here, kind of have my lows not too tight. I like to have it a little bit more, at least below my area of interest. Yeah, probably around here-ish, maybe a little lower here. And just going for maybe a 1 to 2. I know this high is here. It's very tempting just to go all the way up. But, in actuality, hitting a 1 to 3.8 it's not that common unless you get a huge news event that is pushing up this high, right? Like that is a very nice candlestick that we would love to see again. But the chances of that happening is you're coin flipping at that point, right? You're just trying to hope that a news event is going to coin flip you into profit. And that's not what we're looking for. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be looking for this pair, Euro GBP. And also one quick thing to mention is that these are opposite to GBP USD, right? So GBP USD, we're looking for a short. And if we see that there's a lot of confluences for GBP USD to go short, GBP is the first symbol in that pair, right? Euro GBP is the second symbol. So what does that mean? That means when GBP strengthens, or let's say in our case, we want it to weaken. So if the GBP goes down, that means any pair with GBP in the first part is going to fall. But if GBP is in the second, like it is here for Euro GBP, it's going to go up. So these are like two pairs that are confluencing each other, if that makes sense, which I like to look at a lot. If you have two pairs that are approaching an area of interest and they're both looking like they're going to bounce off or respect a lot of confluences on their own, and they're going to go into opposite directions, then that's really, really good for us, right? That's just an extra layer of confluence that we can look into. I'm not sure if I explained that too well. Hopefully you guys understand somewhat, right? So if you didn't understand, maybe rewatch that quick little 30-second explanation. I maybe will create a YouTube video kind of explaining how we can take advantage of pairs lining up together. But yeah, so that's just like another great confluence that I saw between those two pairs. So that's why I wanted to mention that. Next up is Euro JPY. As I mentioned plenty of times in the past, any pair with a JPY, you're looking for longs. Okay, it's just like If you're a swing trader, you want to be looking for longs. Everything is going bullish. Ever since, what was it, like 20, like look at this chart, like ever since 2020 kind of started, it just nonstop is just skyrocketing, right? So it's like, why would you want to look for shorts if you're a swing trader, if you're if you see the whole chart is just skyrocketing every single time? So that's what I might be looking for this week, right? We are at an area of interest. Why does this look so weird? So we're at an area of interest on the daily, right? We had these top, this top, this top. We had a huge push up again, a huge news day, kind of made it super volatile, coming back down to this area of interest. It's looking pretty clean so far. On the 4 hour, it's not as clean. This one I'm going to be a little bit more skeptical about, just be kind of slow and patient with this one. And the reason why is because if we look at the monthly chart, right, just to see a view of everything, we are at the highest point Euro JPY has ever been, right? It has never exceeded. We actually did create a new high point, and we've never been to this level before. So there's not much structure to go based off of from the past. Doesn't mean it's not tradable, right? It doesn't mean it's impossible to trade, but we just have to be extra cautious because we don't know what price is going to do when it is creating these new all-time highs. So that's why it's not really first on my list, but it is a pair to still look out for simply because the JPY pairs have been going bullish for like 2, 3, 4 years now. We're at a strong area of interest. We're bouncing off our daily EMA. Confluences are looking great. So just be a little patient with that one. Be a little cautious. Don't take the trade if you don't feel comfortable. And for my final pair this week is GBP NZD. I believe FX Alex G was also looking into this pair maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. But it is looking very, very strong. I mentioned to you guys in the past, I believe it was like these coming weeks. If you watched a video from maybe February 26th or 19th, whenever those dates were, I was explaining how we are in the middle of creating a head and shoulders pattern, and it's a great time for a buy. And look what happened. We created a head and shoulders pattern, and this could have been a great opportunity to get in like something like this. It could have been really, really nice. A 1 to 2. If you were even ballsier, you 1 to 3, something like that. You could have made good money from it, right? And that's something that I mentioned. We're bouncing off of the daily EMA, but now we broke past it, right? We're above our head and shoulders. Now we're coming back. We're retesting the neckline of our head and shoulders. Another great confluence. We're retesting market structure. Our daily is kind of bullish. I like to classify this as bullish simply because like these two red candles are just super weak. They're not strong. And they're not really respecting another area of interest too much. So that's why I still like to classify this as bullish, simply because the overall look of it is it broke these highs. It very definitely broke these highs. We're coming back and we're at this area of interest now. The only thing that I don't really like about it is that this lower wick, like on the lower time frames, we wicked below these lows, right? Where it's a very steep drop on the daily. It wasn't like slow descending. And let's see what else. Yeah, like 4 hour structure, it just dropped, right? There was no like slow descension down. Which means if we do want this and we want our 4 hour to shift of structure before we enter the trade, it is gonna have to like create some really high, come back and retest before we take it again. It's not the cleanest, but it is still just generally on my list. Whether I want to break the set and forget strategy rules and just kind of risk it and like place a position here, I don't think I will. Very unlikely, but it does look decently clean. I wish this would reject maybe more in the middle, and then we could try to get another wick down into this area of interest. But overall, it's just kind of the last pair on my list because it's not the cleanest. There are some confluences that are going against the direction we want it to go. So just got to be a little careful. Probably won't trade this pair for the week. There were a couple other pairs that I was looking into. For example, NZD JPY looked like a good pair, very similar to Euro JPY. We're looking for longs, but the thing is that this was also another huge drop. We would have to wait for a big shift of structure. The daily is already kind of rejecting the zone. We kind of like missed it already. See, it's like kind of already like halfway up where we would want it to be. AUD USD looks pretty good too for longs, right? We broke market structure where everything is turning bullish. Weekly is bullish, daily is bullish. But I just think there's other pairs that might look a little cleaner. In my opinion, there's too many zones here on this pair that I think might confuse me a little bit. So I might just step away a little bit, let this play out for a few weeks, come back to it. Maybe there's another opportunity later on, right? We have like this upper area of interest that I had marked out from these lows, these highs, and then there's like this other smaller one. It's just there's too much confluences in my opinion. There's too much confusion on this pair. So that's why I've kind of just organized it for this week, mainly GBP USD, mainly Euro GBP. Those are the two top priority pairs for me. And if the trades don't come or they happen too early, then it is what it is. Like, I'm not trying to force a trade. Big number one real rule: don't force trades. You're just gonna lose all of your money, right? So take a week or two to set up a good proper trade, and try to catch good ones and exit while you're in profit, right? Don't go for the home run swings because you're not gonna hit them, basically. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Good luck in the markets. Try to be safe. Be very cautious with your decisions. Don't rush it. And yeah, so follow my social media. I post almost daily on my story about my trades and just other things I'm doing around. So yeah, link is in description. And I'll see you guys in the next week's video. Have a good one. Peace.